It's not trade season, but it's always trade season, if you feel what I'm saying. One trade every NBA team should propose right now. Leave a like, subscribe. Let's get into it with the Atlanta Hawks. So the Atlanta Hawks are going to propose to get Ousmane Dieng and Jalen Williams in one first-round pick that is the least favorable between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different teams for Larry Nance Jr. and Vic Reggie. Oh, I mean, okay. Ousmane Dieng is one of those players I feel like a lot of bad teams would be interested in. Not that he's having some phenomenal seasons, actually not shooting the ball very well, but he's young enough. It was a lottery pick that I feel like teams will take a chance on. This is like OKC saying, hey, we have 0 centers for the time being. Larry Nance Jr. is actually having a pretty solid season at the center position. We're gonna grab him and give you a first-round pick that might not really be a first-round pick. And Vic Reggie sometimes can play. But it's one of those trades, it's like, I mean, if you can get a first-round pick, even if it is one of the ones that may not convey ever, and a prospect like Ousmane Dieng for Larry Nance is kind of a come-up if you're Atlanta, because it's not like Larry Nance is part of the long-term future whatsoever. Give Ousmane Dieng a bunch of minutes, even though they got a crazy 4 rotation over there anyway. This is one of those trades that if it happened right now, I wouldn't have a video ready to talk about it. This video is brought to you by Bombas. Bombas is a comfort-focused, basics premium brand with a mission to help people in need. Socks, t-shirts, underwear, slippers. Actually, kick man off real quick so I can show you. These are my Bombas slippers. When I was growing up, my mom preached a lot of different things. One of those things was having a really good house shoe / slipper. You leave your outdoor shoes at the door, you put on another pair of something to keep your feet warm. And I've been messing around with Bombas for what, a year, maybe 2. So when they hit me up asking to sponsor a video, it was like a match made in heaven. Earlier, I mentioned that Bombas was a brand to help people in need, and that is 100% true. A little over a decade ago, the founders learned that the #1 thing people ask for at the homeless shelter is socks. And since then, they've made it their mission to donate as much as possible. So you can actually help support the cause when you purchase, because every time something is purchased, they're gifting, they're donating that to people in need. And they can proudly say they've donated over 100 million items, man. That is insane. My favorite products from Bombas is, of course, my slippers and then their underwear. I got a pair on, I will show you, but I feel like that's against the rules. Anyway, you know, if me and Bombas were coming together, there will be a deal for you at home. So if you go to bombas.com/Kenny and use code Kenny20 at checkout, you get 20% off your purchase. It's the perfect time because I'm one of the people that enjoy getting or gifting good socks for Christmas. So you need to get in on the action. Again, that is code Kenny20 when you go to bombas/Kenny, 20% off, an absolutely perfect deal. I want to say shout out again to Bombas for sponsoring this video. Next, we got the Boston Celtics, Amir Coffey for Jaden Springer and a second-round pick. Amir Coffey is one of the most efficient shooters in basketball right now. It's not like the Clippers are trying to rebuild, right? They're trying to stay competitive and waiting till Kawhi comes back. So it feels weird for them to be selling a guy like Amir Coffey for a second-rounder. And I'm not saying Jaden Springer can't be good one day, but like, you feel me? So that's kind of a nothing trade to me as well. Brooklyn Nets, Obi Toppin and Jarace Walker for DFS and Day'Ron Sharpe. Whoa. What do I feel about this? I'm feeling a strong no for the Indiana Pacers, mostly because I really like Jarace Walker. I know he has some times where he could get kind of shot happy and put his head down and not make the greatest decisions when he has the ball in his hands. But just last week alone, I saw him guard Luka Doncic, Jalen Brunson, Franz Wagner, and have possessions on Karl Anthony Towns. Like, I like that level of versatility from my young player, and because the Indiana Pacers have so many injuries, he's having an opportunity to really play. So I'm not really throwing him in the trades just yet. And if I am throwing him in the trade, it's not for just a small upgrade. Well, maybe it's small as a stretch, but not just a upgrade for a role player. Like, if I'm going to trade Jarace, I'm not saying that I'm getting a superstar back, but I at least want to get a full-time, no question starter. And maybe that's what Dorian Finney-Smith is on the team, with Aaron Nesmith being out, but Benedict Mathurin playing so well. So it's like, nah, I mean, if you're the Brooklyn Nets, you like sign me up right now, just because Jarace Walker as a prospect is one of the ones you would love to get, especially if it only costs you a role player that you're not trying to keep for the long term anyway. But it's one of those trades that I can't really see happening. I don't think Jarace is going to get traded for something like that. Charlotte, Robert Williams for Micic and 2 second-round picks. Now, that's probably just because Robert Williams can't stay healthy, right? In theory, you should be able to get a first-round pick for the talent that is Robert Williams, who's looked pretty good in the 2 games he's played since he's been back. But because he has all of the injury history and he hasn't played like a full season almost ever, it kind of makes sense that he might not be worth a full first. I would actually like him a lot with the Charlotte Hornets because their other center... Well, now you're going to have a center rotation of Mark Williams and Robert Williams, the 2 guys that can't stay healthy. But if it's only costing you some second-round picks and Micic, say yes. But I think Portland would rather sit on the asset and wait for Robert Williams to play his way into a lottery protected first, or at least a young, talented player that you can feel comfortable in, not the 32-year-old backup. The only reason why we really made this video to see what they got for the Bulls. Cole Anthony, who basically doesn't play anymore. Jonathan Isaac, Tristan da Silva, and a first-round pick, most favorable from Denver and Orlando, top 5 protected through 2027. Turns into 2 seconds if not conveyed. Ooh, I don't like that sound. Turns into 2 seconds for Zach LaVine and Torrey Craig. Are they cooking something up here? Are they cooking something up here? John Isaac is one of those guys. The Orlando Magic fans are like, no. I threw John Isaac in the trade like 2 years ago when he wasn't even playing. The Orlando Magic fans like, no, he is untouchable. But Zach LaVine is the type of player, and I'm not saying they should do this because his contract is still very large. He's only got a few years left on this. Was not as bad now as it was last year or the year before that. But he is the type of player I think Orlando should be trying to get, one of those bucket-getting type of guys, because I think that they have the defensive infrastructure to accommodate Zach LaVine. And I don't think Zach LaVine is a bad defender. He just kind of gets lost off ball. So I don't mind this trade from a Bulls fan's perspective, even if this pick never conveys in the 2 years, 3-year draft classes. Because I'm interested in Tristan Silva. He's one of the older guys drafted in the first round, but I liked him as a prospect coming out of college. So I wouldn't mind this, but I also am kind of saying that because I think Zach LaVine, I want to see Zach LaVine on the team that's going to be in the playoff contention. And Torrey Craig doesn't really play for the Bulls anymore because they opted to go smaller and younger, but I think he can still be serviceable in the rotation. I think Magic fans will say no. As a Bulls fan, I would be interested in that. Here's another team. Larry Nance for Georges Niang. 2 seconds. Bring Larry back home. Nothing, Trey. Here's OKC trying to get another center type of guy. Maxi Kleber and a first top 8 protected for Aaron Wiggins. Well, because Aaron Wiggins saved basketball, I can't say that OKC would put him in a trade because what are you going to do after that? I do understand the idea of trying to go get some center play or a guy that can mold himself into a center like a Maxi Kleber who's a little bit versatile there. But if the price is Aaron Wiggins, I'm probably saying no. Like, I would rather trade Ousmane Dieng if I'm OKC to try to upgrade our center position versus trading a guy like Wiggins who's like a real staple in the rotation and playing so very well on a team-friendly deal. But you know Sam Presti like these things. Them picks, boy. Sam Presti love him a pick or two. So maybe. But it can't get completed to January. Ain't the name of this article a trade you propose right now? So you're going to propose it right now and say that we say yes in January? What's going on? Denver Nuggets. The Nuggets were a team I was just thinking about because Zeke Naji is a guy with like $9 million on his cap. Like, he is the one tradable contract that they have. What can they get for him? And the answer, in their eyes, is Cody Martin and Nick Richards. Wow. That's not too bad, man. Like yes, you're getting up a first-round pick and 2 first-round swaps. I'm sorry. So not completely a first-rounder. It's a dangerous trade, man, for 2030. That's a long time from now. But like, the idea is to continue to keep that window open for the Denver Nuggets. And you just don't have a lot of contracts that you can aggregate in order to get like big-time role players. But I do believe Cody Martin and Nick Richards would be able to come to Denver and play. I don't hate this. I don't love it. But yeah, because 2 first swaps is crazy for Cody Martin, bro. I ain't gonna lie. But I understand the idea behind it because you don't have a ton of wiggle room to make the roster better. You don't have any straight up tradable first rounders. Every first rounder that you're incorporating in the trade has to be a swap. You have 0 second round picks either. So it's like, are you going to convince a team to take Zeke Naji at face value? No, you're going to have to trade some future capital, and that future capital might be a swap or two. But because these contracts are not that large, it's not like you could say Zeke Naji and 2 of these swaps to go get a mid-level starter. That just doesn't work that way. So 2 random role players that could help. Nick Richards can help them, bro. I swear to you, if he can get healthy, he'll showcase that. I like the talent that they're getting in here. I just don't know if that's the right package to go out. Have I liked any of the trades so far both ways? I don't think I have. And maybe that's what makes a good trade. Jusuf Nurkic and a first-round pick for Isaiah Stewart. Isaiah Stewart's having a really good season, man. They stopped playing him at a small ball 4 or a big 4. He's not shooting threes at all this season so far. I think he was 38% on a couple attempts last year. This year, he has not hit one. I don't know if he's even attempted one. So he's kind of transitioned that out of his game. But if he were to go to Phoenix, I would assume Bud would be like, you know those threes you was taking last season? Fire those off again because that's what they want from the center position. I've made myself very public about my lack of use of Jusuf Nurkic on this roster. Now, he's put together a couple games before he just had his injury or whatever. So maybe that's like going in the right direction. I'm going to just say yes. I'm just going to say yes. Do it. Shout out to Houston Nuggets, man. Golden State Warriors. This is what we're here for. A three-teamer. So Brandon Ingram ends up with the Golden State Warriors, getting some top-end talent to this team that's already pretty good. It's going to cost them Santos, Wiggs, a first-round pick, 2 seconds to the Pelicans, and then Gary Payton has to get traded to the Raptors with a second. Okay, I think Wiggins has looked pretty good this season. Now, I know in order to go get another top-end talent, Wiggins has to be in the trade because he's one of the few people that make enough money to get thrown into it. This is a tough one, bro. This is a tough one because not only are you trading for Brandon Ingram, you're basically signing yourself up to sign him to another extension once the season is over. Brandon Ingram, obviously, really, really great player, right? The more I look at it, the more I like it. It does suck to move a guy like Gary Payton in order to make the money match because Gary Payton is like almost a perfect role player for what the Warriors do. He only plays well if he's in a Warriors jersey, dog. But I'm liking it more and more the more I see it now. It's a 2025 pick for the Pelicans, right, from the Golden State Warriors. And at this rate, the Warriors are at least a playoff team. So that's pick number 20 through 30. So maybe that's not super enticing if you're the Pelicans. But, like, you basically made it true that you don't want to pay him the amount of money that he wants. So getting any type of capital for him that's first-round worthy is pretty interesting. Yeah, sign me up. Blockbuster deal. Brandon Ingram, Golden State Warriors. Can we convince him to shoot more threes? I'm just talking. This year, he's been shooting a lot of threes. They ain't been going in, but he's been shooting a lot of threes. I would expect him to turn that around. Okay, Houston Rockets, Duncan Robinson for Jacques Landale, Jae'Sean Tate, and a second-round pick. I mean, sure, I guess if you're the Rockets, just to get more shooting out there. I was hoping that the Rockets trade had to do with Fred VanVleet or something. Start Amen Thompson. Hashtag it. Next, Indiana Pacers, Haywood Highsmith. Oh, so this is time for the Miami Heat to sail. They trade Duncan Robinson in this trade. Now they're trading Haywood Highsmith in this next one for 2 second-round picks. That would be a come up for the Pacers. I can't lie. Haywood Highsmith is a good defensive player. So sign me up if you're the Pacers. I guess if you're saying sail for the Heat, 2 second-round picks ain't too bad for Haywood Highsmith. But, yeah, I don't know if they're looking to... Is this a Kobe White trade? I'm done. Thank y'all so much for watching this video. I gotta go. No, but in all seriousness, obviously the worst trade ever drawn up in the history of trades. Terrence Mann in a first-round pick, top 1 protected for 2 years, and it turns into 2 seconds if it doesn't convey. So, and there's a world where I trade Kobe White for 2 second-round picks, basically. Who wrote this article? Was it Steve Ballmer himself? The hell is going on? And listen, you're probably saying, Kenny, in 2030, who knows what the Clippers are going to look like? And hey, I completely agree. I'm not about to trade my boy Alec Jacoby White for something that doesn't convey for 5-6 years. And that's why I'm not the general manager of the team, because I would hold on to my pieces like that. Hey, yeah, trade it. Sign me up. Done. Send this to Adam Silver right here, right now. Big Vooch, man. Big Vooch has been playing really good basketball, if you haven't noticed. Defensively, he's not the greatest, but if he's getting traded to the Lakers where he can have Anthony Davis there with him, I think he's the perfect player for them. I would love to get a first-round pick for Vucevic if we can. I just don't know if his value ever be like that, just because so many teams across basketball already have their center. So who's trading a first-round pick? I don't know. I actually hate this trade, but I love it at the same time. Mostly love it because Vooch gets to go somewhere where he can play to compete a little bit. I hate it because we don't really get anything from it, but sometimes you just got to bite the bullet and say, hey, we're trading a player. We're not getting anything back that we like. It's cool. Grizzlies, DeAndre Hunter and Vic Krejci for Brandon Clark, John Conchar. For some reason, Brandon Clark is like, in my mind, like a Nick Collison type of player where he's going to spend his entire career in Memphis. I don't know how true that is. I don't know if they see him like that. But if you're saying no, DeAndre Hunter is just one of those players that it's hard for me to gauge like who he is as a guy. Sometimes he looks amazing. He can have a 20-game stretch where you're like, oh, snap, he's shooting 40% from 3 and he's averaging 16 points. And I'm watching him play and he gets lost on the court still, even with me saying that. But if it's costing you 2 second-round picks and some stuff, I guess it's not that bad of a trade. And y'all know I love when Vic Krejci end up on a good team. The Miami Heat. Oh, here's the one. Jonathan Kuminga, DeAnthony Melton, Andrew Wiggins, a 2025 first, a 2026 swap, a 2027 first, a 2028 second, and a 2030 first round pick protected number 21 and 30 for Jimmy Butler, Bruno Fernando, Josh Richardson, and then again, the Toronto Raptors get Gary Payton and some other stuff. Whoa, that is a lot, man. And I can't convince myself that at this stage of Jimmy Butler's career, he's worth all of this. Am I crazy? Maybe I'm crazy. But at this stage of Jimmy Butler's career, I don't know if I can convince myself that this is worth it. Even if that does make the Warriors a contender for a year, right? This is just a little bit too much for my liking. Because just in general, Jimmy Butler just doesn't look as good as he looked 2 years ago. Or all of his stats are just down across the board. And I'm not even just talking about the traditional stats as points per game, rebounds per game. We're talking about efficiency. We're talking about his foul drawing rate. We're talking about the rate in which he wants to have the offensive look. Like, there's a lot. And I'm not saying he's not worth getting traded at all for the Warriors, but like, you're telling me we're giving away 3 real rotational pieces and then 3 first-round picks in a swap? That's just a little bit too rich for me personally. If you're the Miami Heat, I think you say yes to this in a heartbeat, though, just because that's how bad the Miami Heat have looked this season. And you're telling me I could get some first-round draft capital, that much first-round draft capital, and get a younger guy that we're going to have to extend, but regardless, Kuminga could potentially be a building block for us. I think you say yes to this deal if you're Miami, not if you're the Golden State Warriors. The Bucks, whoa. Dylan Brooks, Tari Eason for Chris Middleton in a first. Hey, we be talking about this a lot. The Bucks have not looked amazing this season. What can they do? What is the tradable piece that they have? And the real answer was they have a pick. Nobody's probably going to want Brook Lopez other than the Lakers, but if you're trading him to the Lakers, what do you get it back that helps Dame and Giannis right now? Nobody really wants Bobby Portis that's going to bring you anything back. So it's like, is it Chris Middleton? And then here we are with a trade that is Chris Middleton oriented. The problem is you cannot break up Tari Eason and Amen Thompson. So I think that's an automatic non-starter for the Houston Rockets. But if we look past that, this is the type of trade I will be trying to get for Chris Middleton. Just like, yeah, we're trading away a guy that could be an all-star, and in the postseason last year showed us that all-star thing could still be a case. But we want to trade him away from some depth pieces to potential starters for one starter. But I don't think the Houston Rockets are interested in this whatsoever. I do believe that Dylan Brooks could potentially be moved, but like Tari on top of that would just be too much, I believe. Minnesota Timberwolves get Delano Ben. Well, Delano just lit them boys up last night when I was watching for PJ Dozier and a second-round pick. All right. The Pelicans, another Brandon Ingram trade. This is Brandon Ingram to the Memphis Grizzlies for Brandon Clark, Marcus Smart, Vince Williams Jr. in a first-round pick, top pick protected through 2027, turns to 2 seconds if not conveyed for Brandon Ingram. So that puts them in a world where it is Ja, it is Bane, it is Ingram, it is Jaren, and it is Edey. I kind of like that 5 a lot. Sometimes I do watch them and say that they need a little bit more spice into their creation, their offensive creation. I think Brandon Ingram can provide that. You are committing a lot of money to that core, though, because you already have Jaren and Bane and Ja locked up, and then you're going to have to lock up B.I. Maybe that's not a problem. Maybe that is a core that you're willing to go with. The Marcus Smart thing didn't last very long. I mean, I don't know if I've seen it at all for more than 40 minutes in a season or two. Vince Williams Jr. is a really good prospect to have, but he hasn't been able to play this year. I don't mind this trade, I don't think. Yeah, I don't mind this trade. The Knicks, Toumani Camara and Robert Williams for Cameron Payne, Mitchell Robinson, a first-round pick via Washington, top 10 protect. It's got some protections on it regardless. Let's trade one injured center for another injured center. I think it will be hard to convince Blazers fans to trade Toumani Camara, regardless of what you're getting back in return. I mean, unless it's like the guy. You feel me? OKC, do I breathe for 2 seconds? Sign me up. Play that man. I don't think he's really played much this season because you got Aiden, you got Robert Williams back, you got Donovan Clingan now started with Aiden being out his injury. It's just not really a lot of role for him. So yeah, send him to a team where he could potentially play for a couple weeks until they get some of their players back. Orlando Magic, another Kobe White trade. Next, I'm just gonna turn down every Kobe White trade, bro. My bias and my fandom is coming into play. I don't care. I'm not accepting a Kobe White trade, bro. Is that what we're gonna get for the next 2 years? People drawing up Kobe White trades? Dang, dude, I hate that. 76ers, Tari Eason and Cam Whitmore for KJ Martin and a first-round pick that's a second least favorable from all the teams, and then another first-round pick from the Clippers. 2028 Clippers first round, it sounds kind of lit. I ain't gonna lie. Tari Eason, Cam Whitmore. Get some young guys in there. Again, I'm not a fan of trading Tari Eason. Speaking of Tari Eason is the hottest commodity on the block. Am I crazy? Houston Rockets fans, y'all let me know what y'all think because y'all watching this team more in depth than I am. Do you think your front office is more likely to trade Bari or Tari? That's my question to y'all because I don't know the answer to that. I have a theory, but I don't have an answer because I'm not watching as deeply or know the front office as much as y'all do. That's really a fan of this team. But another Tyrese trade. Hey, getting Tyrese to the Suns would be kind of lit, but I'm not doing that. Portland Trailblazers trading to the Lakers, Jeremy Grant, Robert Williams, and a first-round pick is going. Oh, bro, I thought that was saying that they are trading away the first. No, so they're getting 2 first-round picks for Robert Williams and Jeremy Grant, Jalen Hood-Schifino, D'Angelo Russell, Jared Vanderbilt, Gabe Vincent. But the good thing is none of these players have been positive, impactful players as of right now. And one thing about Jeremy Grant, he gonna hit a corner 3 and he's gonna defend at least decently. I like Jeremy Grant with the Lakers so much. Is it worth trading 2 first-round picks for these 2 dudes? Maybe, because it allows Brandon Ingram. It allows Anthony Davis to move over to the 4, which is what he's been wanting to do, even though he's been dominant at the 5 right now. But also, Robert Williams is not the type of dude that needs to warrant a starting spot, so maybe he's just taking the Jackson Hayes minutes. So this allows you to do some stuff like Reeves, James, Hachimura, Grant, Davis. Let Bron be a point guard again, just like he was when he first got to LA. Because the one thing about D'Angelo Russell's minutes is one of the few positive things about D'Angelo's game is his playmaking ability. And because he's playing alongside Reeves and Bron, he doesn't get to showcase that as much. So yeah, sign me up for this one too. Sign me up. Sacramento Kings, Larry Nance is on the move for Trey Lyles in 2 seconds. Not mad at that. The Spurs, Chris Boucher and Kelly Olynyk on the... Huh? Zach Collins in a first-round pick that turns into 2 seconds. Oh, boy. I was about to say, because didn't the Raptors trade away a first-round pick for Kelly Olynyk and Ochai Agbaji? We get one back? Okay. It's just one of those trades. It's like, whatever. Toronto Raptors trading for Ousmane Dieng. There it is. Hey, I watch a lot of basketball. I mean, a lot of basketball. Have I watched a single minute of Melivi Leons? I don't believe I have. The name, the name just popped up and my eyes kind of widened. Oh, okay. Hey, this is like 2 playable centers though. And Ousmane, I would be saying yes to this if I'm Masai. Just go get another talented prospect and trade into 2 bigs that, are solid. They're all right, but they're not part of our long term. Chris Boucher is a lot older than what you think. Utah Jazz, Cole Anthony, yes. So, okay. So I was talking about Zach LaVine as the type of mode of player I want in Orlando. Colin Sexton kind of fits that as well. He can score, man, and he's a talented guy who puts it all on the table every single game. Is he worth your last first-round pick and a future first-round pick? Maybe not, but I wouldn't be mad at this one at all. Call it into the league office right now. And last trade, John Conchar, Marcus Smart, Vince Williams Jr., and a first-round pick for Kyle Kuzma and Patrick Baldwin Jr. Another way to just get some more creation out there for the Memphis Grizzlies. I don't hate it. Is Marcus Smart about to do that for the second half of his career or the last part of his career? Just get traded here or there. Is that the fate of Marcus Smart? I don't know. All right, it's a lot of trades. It made me think a lot, and I like that. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe.